All right. Oh, that Zoom trying to tell me it's time to start. I guess it's like too many, yeah, too many bells and whistles going on all at the same time to try to say, hey, it's time to do something stupid. So, all right. So I think we are live. We're rolling. Let's see what else we got here. We're gonna go ahead and transition. Cool. All right. Very good. Very good. All right. I think we are good to go here. So, all right. So, let's do this.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, all. It's Paul from Drums and Rums with a Backbeats Meet the Spirits, episode 44. On this podcast, our guest fits our podcast to the T. He's a rum craft cocktail maker at North Carolina's Instill Distilling and has drummed pretty much all of his life and is currently the drummer for the band As We Float. Let's get right to it.
Yeah.
And welcome our guest to the podcast. Hello, Dave. Welcome.
Hey, what's up, man? How are you?
Good, good. Hey, do you serve beer there?
No, we do not serve fucking beer here. Absolutely not. Currently. I want to give the guest what they need based off of our current situation. We do not, but it's something that is going to be happening here very soon.
Right, yeah.
Small doses.
Yeah, I just teasing a little bit with because I know I've seen some of the posts there, and about how everyone comes in and asks because they think it's a brewery, not it's like, no, we don't make fucking beer here. We make rum.
If you read the sign on the door and you look around and you don't know what that is, just walk around the other side of the building. You'll figure it out. It's not that difficult.
I mean, I guess there's a throw people off that come in that obviously somehow they landed it there, or people just stumble by the distillery and they think just because I don't know, beer and whiskey is more prevalent in North Carolina.
Yeah, there's not so much stumble by. Our location's a little awkward with what our downtown situation is within Clayton. So, I mean, if you're coming to this area, like, it's not that far off of the main drag, but if you're coming to this area, you're looking for one of two things. You either knew about it, you heard someone told you about it, or you're looking for beer and like, well, maybe I'll have one while I'm in here, and we'll just see how that goes.
Right.
And that's generally the story.
Okay. So yeah. So obviously there's a deliberate reason how they ended up there then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. Cool. So yeah. So like I said, there's so much to get to. You've got like 4 hours, 5 hours, right? So Eric's gonna pay you Eric's gonna pay you overtime, right?
Drinking on the clock, absolutely.
I said so. We'll try to keep this to about an hour and a half, and I know we'll. There's like I said, there's so much to talk about. Obviously, really thrilled to have somebody who's got both portions of this whole boondoggle that I've been involved with for the last year or so. But so I mean, I guess do we open up talking about drums or rums?
Whatever you feel on, man. You got some sexy ladies on that snare drum right there, though.
I know. I really like my. I guess it's not even a 3-way. It's a 4-way. I don't know, whatever it is. But
I think they're a little bit more stand up than that. But yeah.
Yeah.
As I hear.
And I'll tell you how I came by these ladies here in a little bit. But yeah, I guess we could talk about. I guess first is just a little overview of. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So, been a bartender for a good while. Got into the craft cocktail scene about 4 years ago, and that's not necessarily when I chose rum. I'd always been a rum drinker before then, but that's when I first started to understand rum and started to study rum. Just really if you're gonna choose your direction, gin, vodka, whiskey, whatever, rum was kind of the one that just kind of spoke in the region of like, hey, this has really cool, terrible, but really cool history. The cocktails are a lot better, more pleasing to look at. was a lot more fun, just in general, much more lighthearted. Got into that. Prior to that, I was a music teacher down here in North Carolina for a very long time. Contracted percussion director for many different high schools, ranger, university style drum corps stuff, just all over, and been doing that since I was in middle school. So. Cool. Grew up in a musical family. My dad is the associate dean of music at Appalachian State. My mother was a choir director for 43 years. Pretty much figured out I was going to play music. I was going to be in music when I was like 5 years old. Like, this is what he does. Like,
right.
Okay, cool. So when is the ball going to drop him? Is he going to go to school? Is he going to not go to school? Is he going to be in a band? Like, what's it going to be? Just be happy, figure it out. We'll support it. So, really awesome parents when it came to it.
Very cool. Yeah, and that's when we were talking about the intro and some of the, your background in the questionnaire that you had filled out for us, and I was really interested in how you've been pretty much in drumming for a very long time then.
Yeah, 33. So I was playing music at 5, got into upright bass because I was too tall to play violin, which is fine, whatever.
Right.
Got into jazz, and then I just remember my mom telling me, hey, by the way, you're playing bass guitar in the marching band. I was like, okay, cool, I guess. And so I was bored just up front, picking along, I learned all my music in a day, and was like, all right, well, what do I do from here? And started taking percussion lessons, and a really great dude up north, Scott Kretzer. And I really wish I had paid much more attention to him when I was doing my lessons as a kid, man. There's so much of a wealth of knowledge I didn't figure it out later. But got in some marching drum line and that type of stuff, and just didn't really stop until a couple of years ago when just wanted to focus on performing again and actually making money, because teaching down here doesn't do a goddamn thing.
Right.
And that's kind of what led me back into bartending, just to get the finances right. Something else that I do really, really well.
Yeah, and I think that's usually most folks early on, especially for those that are part of the I get you went to school and you were in the drum corps, and pretty much you're in the corps for it looks like a almost the entire life there, right?
Yeah, I did every season I could outside of college. So I didn't with junior corps, and then drum corps drum corps international. The junior corps are essentially like 14 to 21, and once you're 21, you're deemed too old to do this because they want you to move on with your life and go from there.
So this is like Menudo, but for drums.
Yeah, no, exactly. Less pedophile, whatever. So from when I went to the university, every winter and summer from when I was 18, I pretty much marched continuous. I was in great shape. It was awesome. Tons and tons of friends, so much travel. That's what has really racked me this past year with COVID. Like, I was actually talking to Mom. Did you call your mom today?
Yep. That's right. Yes. So cheer. I guess cheers to all the moms that are out there. Yes. Thank you for putting up with all your son's crazy shit that we've done, and and I got to share a mom story with you that is drum related in here in a second.
Hell yeah. Yeah, man. I was talking to her earlier. I was like, hey, man, this is the longest I have never left the state, and I'm losing my fucking mind. Like, this is awful. So we're just waiting for the new As We All Float stuff happening this summer. Booking a lot of gigs, just ready to get out there and do the thing, write some new music, make it happen.
Cool. Very cool. Now, so just real quick about that story was, Mom.
Yeah, please tell.
Yes. So I grew up in New Jersey. So like yourself, there in North Carolina, there's snow, and I was in elementary school, and when they were, like most parents that are probably may not be fully a musical family, that they, when their kid wants to play drums, it's like, oh, why couldn't you play something different? And so I went with the snare drum, and many times, and again, was back in the 80s. I take your snare drum, it's in a big old case. You got your little strap with the bungee cords and the dolly and so forth, and it was always.
Did you get the bell kit with it too?
No, I don't recall. Shit, Dave, that was almost like 40 years ago. So
you're right, but I mean, if you're talking your mom, a snare drum and a bell kit's still better than a fucking accordion. So.
That is true. Yeah, no, I don't think there was any bells that go with it, but it was just always that she would always have to take me to school, drop me off, and it was in the snow and trying to drag this big fucking box, and where kids are carrying their little clarinets and their flutes and whatever. So
that's when you should have known you fucked up. Yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah,
man, why don't I just become a singer? We can just load in, load out, and simple, right? So no, yeah. So that was that. Yeah. So cheers to my mom. So yes, thank you for putting up with all of our. Yeah, she's definitely a trooper. So a musical family there. So and you went to after going through doing a lot of drumming in middle school, high school, and so forth. You went on. You said to Appalachian State. And then, and
thanks for saying it right. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Absolutely.
I know how to speak English.
No, absolutely. No, hey man. So I'm from Toledo, Ohio, right? And growing up, like we knew my dad worked there, which had nothing to do with me getting in whatsoever. I still had to go and audition and do the whole school music nonsense. But so freshman year, whatever, I remember talking to the athletic director from my high school. He's like, "Oh, you're going to Appalachian State." I was like, "Yeah, how the hell did you know that?" He's like, "Oh, well, they just won, Div 2 national championship last year." I was like, yeah, that's where I'm going. So I ended up staying through for the next 2 Div 2 national championships. But I was on the field when we beat Michigan. Wow. The most hungover I've ever been in my life, wearing black at the big house, 208,000 people in there.
Wow.
Like crazy. So once I left high school, you keep to your friend group. I didn't really talk to anyone after that, but immediately get back home from Ann Arbor to Boone. Everyone's loading up my fucking Facebook. Like, "Oh man, can I get an App State t-shirt? I need the score. You guys beat Michigan." And that was really like the first time I came back to Toledo after that. It was like everyone was not saying Appalachian State. I was like, holy shit. Like, it took a big game for everyone to actually learn how to read and write and do things right.
Yeah, like where the hell is that anyway? So we so don't know where that's at. We don't even care how to even say it right?
Yeah. Okay, man.
That's pretty good. Now, and like I said, I originally grew up in New Jersey, so I know. And it's funny because my wife and I always talk about the difference between the mountains on the East Coast versus the Rocky Mountains. And she grew up in New Mexico, so there's always that sense. But yes, the Appalachian
hills.
Yes, that's exactly
hills,
that's exactly what she says.
Yeah.
She says, "Oh well, you have just hills. We actually have the mountains." I'm like,
she's not wrong. I used to work at a ski slope outside of Boone. Like, yeah, our runs minute 30 top to bottom. Like none of this 20-minute bullshit. Can't get as many runs in. You gotta have that ski lift time.
Yeah, yeah. So that was it. So I guess so you answered kind of that question there. Then you're not a native Carolinian, then, right?
No, I'm not native North Carolinian. My mom so family split when I was a kid, but my mother and my dad's side of the family have all been in North Carolina since the beginning of time, or our time. So, coming down here, if you ever been in Toledo, Ohio, it's very similar to Jersey. It fucking sucks. So I was like, I'm getting out of here as soon as possible, not looking back. And that just was what it was. I very much enjoy Toledo for what it is, but no, man, heart has always been in North Carolina. It has nothing to do with that fucking song. No, that's mine, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I know. So talking about the I guess music then, if we stay with that. So I guess why did you pursue a path in music education then?
That's a really good question. I specifically remember sitting on the end of the bed with my mom the day after I graduated. She's like, "Okay, so we see your life going 3 ways. A, you'll be in a band up here. You'll do whatever. You'll be happy with that. You'll get a side job. Fuck it. Mm-hmm. We'll support you. B, you'll go get you'll finish your degree, you'll go sit in an office, and you'll hate your life. Or C, you're going to go to school, you're going to drop out, you're going to do drum corps, and then you're going to go teach drum corps, and you're going to teach whatever, and you'll be happy and probably figure something out after that. Which one do you want us to pay for? So, that's just kind of how it went.
Right.
Why I chose education is performing is addicting, and watching kids pick up that addiction and that addiction for perfection and chasing that moment where you do feel superhuman coming off the field or off the stage or whatever it may be. That's immortal. And
right.
Watching that happen is almost just as good as actually doing it yourself. So well, those, especially in the thing is like those who can't teach. So
yeah, I know, and it's such a bad saying, I guess, but yeah, the performing, as you mentioned, was playing in front of 200,000 at the the Michigan game. That's definitely there's a lot of I'm sure butterflies, but at the same time it's the holy shit, all these people are watching TV, whatever, right?
Oh yeah, but I mean, especially like if anyone who's seen me behind the bar too, like I'm a complete glory hog. I eat it up. Especially with the core, like because you're with 100. Well, App State we had 300 and some odd people in the band at that point. So I mean, total, there's probably 500 Appalachian State people at that game. So
right.
Like we are the minority. Whatever. Like I'm just gonna go hit my drum and have a great time with my buddies. But like even in the core, it's 150 members. So like you guys have been training on this, practicing 14 hours a day outside in the summer sun, for 2 months before someone even sees the show. So it's just like again looking for that immortality through performance. And
right.
That's what drove me the entire time.
Yeah, and obviously, a lot of I've interviewed quite a few folks that have been in the core or have gone through high school and then went on to college, and I guess I have appreciation and would maybe sometimes think, man, I wish if I hadn't done it all over again, because I think guys that are like in core or had done core throughout the through those early education years to up into college and so forth, they're such a different discipline. They're different. Maybe it's technique or the abilities to be maybe a studio musician or maybe be able to fill in because they've been trained very well to come in and play the part, right? And a lot of times I say on the podcast, and this should be this probably will sound like a surprise when I say this, Dave, is there was a trip that I took recently, not recently now, but end of 2019, and again, I know the folks that are listening to the podcast will say, "Fuck, is he telling the story again?" But I went to a drum workshop with Jim Riley, and in Nashville, and for some reason that weekend just hit me with musician first, band second, and it's
Absolutely.
like anything that you do, if there's a certain obviously I know I follow the show there and follow you guys there, Chef Puhak, right? Again, he's he does his thing, or anyone in that example is if you know your craft, then the craft, all that will take you far along. So but yeah, it's that's to that point. The guys that are been the core, it seemed like they're just been very well all round. Versus then just kind of maybe when I grew up in the '80s, all the bands were like, yeah, we're just in a band and it's the band and the musicians are shit, or the or in our discussion, the drummers may not be the best, right?
It just makes it a lot tougher, just because at least in my sake, I am really picky choosy with who I want to associate myself with and who I want to be in a band with. The fact that the three of us right now, as we're looking for more musicians and as we all float, that we're together and we're all cool with what's happening. Because I'm a prick, and I was bred to be a prick because I want it to be this way. I'll practice this way. I'll rehearse this way.
Right.
That's just what I expect. And it just becomes hard to find like-minded musicians that have that structure which like it's totally okay if you don't, like if you freelance it and you guys are putting it together however the fuck you want to, that's awesome. But for those guys who are inundated with like essentially going through basic training for 108 days, like you get off that and someone starts the beat, like, all right, cool, like, hey, we're in, let's go.
Right.
This is what we do. Like, you practice, you didn't practice, well, fuck you. All right, we'll take
Right.
it in from the top, or you want to go outside and like figure out what the fuck you're doing. We'll talk later. Let's get back to it. But
Right.
like we're a bunch of goons, and for what it's worth, that's okay.
No, yeah. Look, everyone's to your point. Everyone's got to be on the same page, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
yep.
For sure. So, to you mentioned, I guess that you may not mention, but again, some of our pre-show stuff. Favorite drummer, Blake Richardson. That's an interesting one, and I'm glad it isn't just Neil Peart or
Baker or I have mad
John
respect.
Bonham.
Yeah, like I have mad respect for those guys. I never grew up listening to classic rock. It took until high school drumline until I was like told, hey, listen, you're gonna listen to 311, you're gonna listen to Rush, you're gonna listen to Dave Matthews Band, because this is where we get our influences, and that's what you're gonna do.
Right.
Okay, cool. I want to be one of the cool kids. Like, this is what you guys do. But Blake Richardson, come to find out, is that kind of funny how it gets to it. When I was in a group out of North Carolina called Constitution Percussion, our original, I guess like head instructor, head writer was Will Goodyear, who was Between the Buried and Me's original drummer. Never really put those two things together, the 2 years that I was in the group, or for another 2 years after that. And never really listened to it. I'd heard Alaska and heard a couple of those things. Wasn't really into that type of music yet. But I remember I was marching Rhythm X and we were in Dayton, Ohio. And my buddy put on the Great Misdirect album from BT Bam. And it got to like the second track. I was like, dude, what the hell is this? Like, this is fucking great. I was like, dude, this is BT Bam. I was like, what the fuck is a BT Bam? He's like, it's Between the Buried and Me. I was like, okay, cool. So we started listening to it. It's like, have you not listened to this before? I was like, oh, well, I've heard Mordecai. Like, I think I know this song. He's like, dude, this is their new album. It's like, oh, well, hell yeah. So started listening to it and just absolutely fell in love. The parts that he writes are absolutely magical. I love watching his Twitch stream now and all that shit. But it's come to find out, like, do the research on it. I was like, holy shit, that's Will's band. I was like, oh, well, now it makes sense. Like, okay, cool. I see where this is coming from. Yeah, man. Like, you ever like watch some of his videos and listen to their music?
It's funny is when it's been a while since then the name has hit my ear. The band, and it was when I went and was doing our pre-show, review and question, put the show together, and I was like, well, shit, I remember about that same time was early 2000s, not even mid 2000s, yeah, I guess what. And there was a couple of guys here in South Florida that I was jamming with, and they were very much into this new, I don't know, what do you call it? It's not new metal. I don't want to say new metal because new. Yeah, I mean they're very technical with all the guys. It's almost like Dream Theater, an expansion of other type of bands that are very prog, and
just like, wow. Not as heady, and like. My first college roommate sucked Dream Theater's dick more than anyone I ever know. And he, he was a guitar major. So naturally, like, that's what you do.
Right.
Dave Portnoy never really did it for me. Like, or, you know what I'm talking about. I listed off the Barstool's president. But Portnoy was never like, I never really liked their construction in their music. It was all like, hey, this is very, very structured, but
right.
Just seemed too heady in the guitars for me. But listening to BT Bam and how they have their construction and how they put it together, and reading into how Dan, their bassist, brings stuff in, how Blake brings stuff in, it just fit a lot better. And plus, when you have low guttural screaming too, like that's like I grew up in all the hardcore stuff, like really loved it. So put
Right.
both those worlds together, you got me. Thank you so much.
Well, that's why I guess it threw me, when you listed, Blake, and then some of the music you do now, and some of the music core drum corps, it is very, but as you said, it comes back to the prog portion of it, where a lot of prog bands are very technical and they have a lot of there's almost no boundary for prog, right? It's not like
much.
right. So one of our previous guests that I had on, Tommy McNamara, here, it's a band, 3-piece band, VTF project. They're kind of that prog style. They don't have really any songs that all their songs, all their original stuff is all just them, the music, right? They don't actually have a singer. But they're very playing this time change, and then they'll switch it up in this song, so it's kind of an interesting, again, a sense of freedom, right? There's not, you don't have to follow this prescribed 4/4 or structure.
We're not going to be this all the time, and that's what, that was what was super prevalent from the Great Misdirect on through the rest of their discology now. Like, in 30 seconds, we're going to change this up completely. We're going to do this kind of the bluegrassy thing, or we're going to do this kind of folky thing, but the layered parts underneath it are going to be in 7/8.
Right.
Or we're gonna like mess around in 15/4 for a while. Like, okay, cool. Like, all right, so now I'm thinking again, and so now it's math rock. And, that's completely acceptable. So I'm engaged with trying to figure out what classical style this is, with maybe where did that part come from? Like, what instrument was that quoted from originally? Like, was that tabla that you were like some sort of Middle Eastern like beat that you were trying to morph over onto the drum set with your tom motion here? Like, where did you quote this from?
Right.
That's where my brain goes in there, and it's endless, and I love it.
Right. It's amazing. Right. It's more than just. I don't know, but
it's more than just turning the radio on and being bored.
Right. And that's the thing about drumming is a lot of They say it's probably one of the more harder instruments to play is because of there's so much coordination, and then the timing and the tempo, and then again, hey, maybe we're playing a different pattern on the feet, but up top there's something else, right? And that's great, So the different types of independence, but looking up, with Blake, right? So obviously, a person's influence is by one drummer, but then it's always interesting to peel it back to who is that person's influenced by, right? And just looking up there, and obviously, this probably fits into, I'm sure, Dave, is some of these folks that are, that you like say, I do dig those guys too, So I guess Blake's favorite drummers include Terry Bozzio, right? Of course, so that makes sense, right? Or Dennis Chambers and Grohl and Simon Phillips and Weckl and Virgil Donati. So again, it's like, okay, this makes So it's
it all comes together. I mean, that's what good musicians are supposed to be: amalgamation of everything that is supposed to be them. And like, as we're writing music with my new project, that's something that I told them. I was like, hey, sorry, I'm going to be the problem here. Like, I know you guys are super into Clapton. I know you guys are like really into classic rock and, some beachy, bluesy shit. I was like, that's not really me, but from here to here, that's me too. So I want to put that in there. Like, I want to hear some fucking horns, dude. I want to hear some strings in here. And I want to, like, mesh stuff up so that it's super interesting. Like, we're messing with lo-fi sounds right now too. Got a new SPDSX pad, and just messing with that, trying to just diversify as much as possible, just to continue growing, continue learning.
Yeah, I think, and that's I think for most bands that have they get bashed in one sense of a way because they don't sound the way they did maybe 2 albums ago, 1 album ago, or when they first started off, but they're evolving within themselves. as an artist, let's let's say that they're evolving for their own creativity and not so much the selling out, right? Because we know that happens too.
You're not going to get everyone with it.
Right.
That's just a fact of life, you
Yeah.
know. But as a musician to musician, unfortunately, we don't make up the biggest part of that market. But like, you got to respect it, you know.
Right.
Like, you guys go balls out and say, "Fuck this, dude!" Like, I'm going to do a pop techno album for my next thing. Okay, cool.
Right.
Like, I hope it's proficient.
Right.
I hope
Right.
it's proficient.
Right.
Might not be for me, but you know, hey, you guys gonna play these couple songs from your last album on tour? Okay, cool. I'll still pay to see it. Like, let's get down.
Yeah.
Have a good time.
Yeah. Well, again, I think that's the part is whatever sometimes it gets lost is we're all artists, and these are the things that we create from ourselves, within ourselves, or within a group or whatever. And this is art, and take it or leave it. Sometimes it's going to be accepted, sometimes it's not, and that's just the way it is. And maybe that's unfortunately where it comes to starving musician comes from, right?
No, yeah, absolutely. Like, you either accept the fact that the music that I make fills a void, or it doesn't, and I'm living on the street or in the van that my band purchased that's not in my name. Yeah. Okay, cool. Like, if that's what you want to do and you're happy, fucking get it done. That's awesome. If you want to open yourself up to a more mainstream voice and mess around with that, get after it. Like, don't be afraid to take chances and make mistakes, because Lord knows, like, if you've got the chops and it doesn't work out, there is another opportunity wherever you're willing to move to right. Hop in and have your voice or your sticks or anything heard.
Right. And it goes back to it's like we said, musician first, band second, or project second is. Hey, at the end of the day, is if you still got the chops and you can perform, and again, I think I probably need to start getting friggin' some some advertising or sponsorship or whatever from this website called Air Gigs, and I don't know if you've ever checked it out.
Nah, this is the first time I heard it.
Yeah, so so damn it, Air Gigs, pay me some money because I'm plugging this shit out of the website. So, but it's actually pretty cool. Apparently, it's like it's kind of like you're putting yourself out there as, hey, I am. It's like Fiverr, I guess, right? I am this, and I'm this musician or that, and maybe somebody is looking for a guy or a musician to play the triangle. I'm being a little extreme, but
No, exactly the same. We use we're hunting right now for another bassist and whatever else, and we actually use Bandmix.
Okay. Yep. But this is more, Dave. This is not as much as Bandmix, like to find an actual person, but it's like, hey, I'm putting together this music, and I need this musician. I need this musician, and I'm putting together a track. Here's my track. Put drums down on it. Okay, bass player. Here's
yeah. That's really cool. Those are ideas that I wish I would have come up with and learned how to code, 10 years ago. Like, like 6 years ago, I really wish I would have fucking, grabbed the domain name for magaonly.com. Like, I'd be raking in the millions right now. I wouldn't have to play fucking music and sling someone else's fucking rum. I know my own fucking distillery. Maybe.
So, yeah. I'm sure Eric tunes in, right? Yeah.
I hope he does. We'll probably talk about it tomorrow.
That'd be good. So, sorry. So, how long have you been a Zildjian guy?
So I stole my dad's kit from him fair and square. So
this sounds like a blues song.
Yeah, absolutely. No, when I moved back after 2010, I went up to his house. I was like, hey, I'm teaching. I'm doing private lessons. The school has a shit kit. I need a drum kit, and I'm starting a new band. He's like, well, what are you going to do? You going to buy a new one? I was like, no, I'm going to take yours. He's like, no, you can't do that. I was like, you haven't touched it since the last time I moved it in the basement. Don't get me wrong, my dad's a fantastic percussionist, like all the thing. He's been a music educator for forever, since well before I was born. And I was like, I'm taking your kit. As soon as I get a kit, I'll bring it back. Never brought it back. Still have the kit. But I started playing on his, what was he? I think they're 50s Zildjians. and they scare the shit out of me. Those are played with like the lightest jazz sticks, like just wonderful tone. There is nothing like, which really sucks. It's like there's nothing like the tone on that hi-hat or that ride. I'm not really digging the crash. Is what it is. And like he took care of them, so nothing's keyhole, like no cracks, no anything. It's all original. But yeah, like once I started there, like the sounds and just vocabulary that they offer, I've just always dug. Like I've never been really thick into the effect symbols, so it wasn't something I was trying to like, let's go Meinl or let's go Sabian. It was just always kind of a, hey, in fact, I owned a set of Meinls for 2 weeks and then I sold them in 2008. Just didn't get down with it. But no, like I don't know if you're posting what I play on currently, but that's been a piece by piece. Where the fuck do I find this? This is something I want in my lineup. I play on with 14-inch a custom dyno beats. Like, you know how many people fucking own those? Not me. And that's just based off of a set of hats one of my old drum instructors had when I was in high school. And I was like, These are so dope. I love the feel of these. They're heavy as fuck. Like it's got an incredible chick, just cuts, so like I throw a drop clutch off the right, like I love playing open. So that just sits over there, I'm ready to like drive it when I'm not running some sort of washy, trashy K hi-hat beat,
Right.
But like my 17 hybrid custom crash, like love that, or excuse me, what is it? It's a dart crash. Like love that thing. And that was someone else's cymbal from a high school. I was like, I need to buy that because I'm not going to steal it. Like, and any drum instructor that says that they walked away from any high school without taking something is a fucking liar.
So do you hit up a lot of, I guess, stuff off of Reverb or?
No, actually, we've got a really awesome drum shop in town, 2112. Been around for forever. Love the dudes up there. Anytime I need something new, I just throw what I'm trying to match to in my bag. Which if you don't do that, absolutely take what you got with you. Say ask to get into a practice room, and hey, I'm just gonna try out some cymbals lightly. And thankfully, like they know not who I am, but like I've been in there enough. Like, hey, I just need to like find this thing. I promise I'm not going to wreck it. They're like, well, like we have your credit card, so wreck it. But no, like everything else has been pieced together. The only thing that I play with that was a complete shot in the dark was I've got a 21-inch K organic dry ride. Dude, the thing's awesome. No, it's like it looks like the old like Earth Ride, which is ugly as sin, kind of hammered, weird, unfinished lathe.
So it's not super shiny, right? Yeah, it's just
no. It's like you fucking dug your cymbal in the dirt and picked it up 5 years later. Like it's ugly. But I throw one of those old fucking ProMark Sizzlers on there, and that's my I love having two rides out all the time. But that's my kind of domey, thick kind of deep sounding ride that I love playing with, especially just to break it up. Like when I have to listen to like Boston Joe play guitar for too long, I'm like, all right, cool, I'm gonna go on this one right here, get really happy with what I'm listening to. And it's like, oh wait, he's gonna miss the chance to get this transition right. So I'm just gonna keep going in here. Oh, and everything's fine. Like it'll be all right. Like, yeah, it's a good time.
So you don't have all those set up in your normal gigging, do you?
Yeah, I'm stupid.
Wow.
Yeah.
So let me see. Let me count that and see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Holy
I still
shit.
want to put a little 12-inch china on the left. I need it.
You got more, yeah.
Dude, well, all right. So I play in a super or a 60, a Ludwig 62 Super Classic, right? Cool. So I'm never gonna be able to add any fucking toms to that thing because they don't make them. I'm not gonna find them, and I can't afford them. especially like to match color too. Like never gonna find that. It's the same kit that Ringo played on the same model kit that he played on the Ed Sullivan Show when they made their debut. Like I'm never gonna find that sound. I'm never gonna get that. So something that I can do with it, because I'm set up with one up, one down, and I'm still playing with the original Acrolite too, which is hilarious. And all the original bottom heads too, which is nuts. Like they still have life in them. Like again,
Wow.
dad took care of his shit. Like it's fun.
Wait. All right. So we're talking about nearly a 60-year-old bottom of Rezo heads.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like they're fine, dude. Like you don't have to go crazy if you're not over tightening and like know what you're doing in order to get that minor third or however you want to tune.
Right.
You're not gonna kill the Rezo head. Like there's no reason for the Rezo head to die whatsoever. If anything, you pound it enough, fucking lugs are falling out the bottom, and you're just finger tightening to get it back into place. Like they still have life in them. It's a great sounding kit. But like I'm not, I can't have any more shells. So trying to talk to Ludwig right now with a couple of the ventures that we're going through and like get 3 up, 2 down like I really want. But the cymbals, like that's something that especially with the music we do like a live band karaoke open mic local artist review once a month at Instill. And a lot of the people that are playing, like, dude, if I play Fortunate Son one more time, I'm gonna stab myself. Like it is.
Wait, no Freebird requests?
Every fucking time. We won't do it. We haven't done it. We will do it if someone's actually gonna play.
They throw the right amount of money, right?
Yeah, please throw money. I'll play it. And then Tan's like, Freebird, play Justin Bieber, and I just want to like throw a glass at him every time he says it. But like I'll get into what my round is. Like, all right, cool. Like this crashes this, like 3 fucking splash cymbal things, whatever. But I can get my own musical like get off by playing around, like having the double hi-hats and running to and from, like how I want to play inside outside, like I can at least stay engaged with what I have going on, and that's really the only purpose for that.
Well, I think what besides the cymbals, what was interesting was, you mentioned that you have a marching snare also in this configuration, right?
Yeah. So like everyone like. You remember when like the firecracker snares were a fucking thing for a while, and they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna put a piccolo over here. Oh, I'm gonna go do this." Yeah, I owned one too. I fell into that. I spent $180 and I sold it back to Guitar Center for $20. We all did it. It's fine. But so no, like what? No
shame.
Yeah, it happened. I still have the hardware and whatever. And they're still trying to sell it for $120 10 years later. So one of my old band parents brought to me this 1980s Premier marching snare, and he's like, "Hey man, I had this from my either pipe and drum or fife and drum or like whatever. Pick one of them. Had this. Right. Not gonna do anything with it. I figure you love it. I'm like, it's mine. I'm like, what am I gonna fucking do with this? Like, it's old. Like like." We have 2 straining systems. Both of them don't work. So I had to get into it and gut the damn thing, work really hard to figure out what heads don't sound like complete fucking trash on there. And I'm still not really happy with it. There's probably an old Remo head that I'm missing that I've got to find somewhere, and that just is what it is. It's a fucking bottom head. But fixed both strainers, put them back on there, and I've just put like every band, every distillery, brewery sticker that I played at is all on it. But no, like like lots of people really enjoy like the 8x14s, right? Okay, cool. So I have a 14x14 snare drum essentially. I think it's 14-12, but so we use it as a field drum. So like it's a really, really deep kind of echoey kind of bass snare sound that I like just enjoy using off the left side of the hi-hat just to, just break it up a little bit. Like maybe we're doing something that's a little bit more deep, like playing some some more out there spacey Floyd. Like, okay, cool. Like I can absolutely put this sound in here and maybe get on that organic ride. And like now, like I have this really deep sounding set as opposed to this really abrasive sound that I, like get with the A customs that I'm running with.
Right.
So it works. It works with it. I think it's a lot of fun.
So it's almost like where's the worst addiction for drummers? Is it on accumulating snares or cymbals?
Yeah, like whatever. I didn't pay for any of mine.
Yeah.
Stole one and just gifted the other.
So
that's what it is.
So now this is not the house kit, right? At Instill.
It is, in fact.
Wow.
I like. Oh yeah. Yeah. The thing is, like, hey man, heads are heads. You bust a head, I ain't gonna be pissed at you. Like, it is what it is. It's a $20 problem. Whatever. I quickly eye over anyone that overplays, or at least like plays with such bad technique that I'm worried about it. But it's few and far between. Like everyone knows, like, no, that's Dave's kit. Like, Dave's a pro dude. Like, don't fuck it up.
He'll fucking kill you.
Like, he will take your credit card right now. And I was like, dude, like, what are you gonna do? You're not gonna bend a fucking snare rim, in 4.5 minutes. Like, it's not gonna happen. That shit stands up. So I'm not really worried about it, but there are times where, like, I'll look at the guy who I run it with, or like one of the other musicians, like, dude, I'm gonna fucking kill this guy. Like, he's got one more chance, and I'm fucking done. I do get protected.
Oh, but yeah, no, I've talked about that, Dave. Is where I don't know why people have it, and you tell me if I'm off base on this. Why people, when they see drums, let's say your drums or my drums or whatever, and they have a certain feeling of, oh well, I'm just gonna jump on the drum kit and I'm gonna start doing something and fuck around, and it's like, wait a minute, dude, you'd be all up in the fucking air if I want to go and grab your fucking guitar and just start noodling or whatever. You'd be a little bit, right? I don't know why drums have such a different magnet to people who obviously maybe not know how to play. They just want to think it's just anyone can play drums, just banging, smashing shit. And then again, too, to the part about, right, not worried about the drum heads, but I'm sure, right, is you're worried about people pounding the shit out of the cymbals, right?
Yeah. Oh, I mean, like, you hit all of it on there. Like, percussion was one of the most basic human forms of language, in Neanderthal time, whatever, well before the Bible. And, like, people want to hit shit, and they're shiny. It's bigger than a fucking guitar. You don't have to wear it. Makes loud noises. Like, it's all the reasons that we started playing drums, but they're ours. So fuck off. Like, they're ours.
Yeah. What's that line from Step Brothers, right?
Yeah. put my nutsack in your drums. Dick on your drums.
So, all right. So let's talk about as we all float, right? Your current project, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's in the infancy state right now. We decided, so it's myself, Boston Joe, from the Drinking Bros Sports Tailgate Legends podcast, playing guitar, and our buddy Steve Dennis out of Boston, Mass. Yes, he still lives in Boston, Mass, and Joe and I live outside of Raleigh. So we are in the throes of adding members, doing the thing, and writing original music. Finding different ways to create music, share with each other. We constantly talk on the phone, just trying to get stuff down so that when, like, Steve hates in Boston, he doesn't, but he does. And he's constantly down here. So when he's down here, we try to play as many gigs as we can and get as much music writing done and rehearsal as possible. So we don't really have too much downtime between gigs and whatnot. So yeah, we're just trying to figure it out, man. We have a lot of different musical tastes, as as I said, but we're just trying to figure it out. Like they've got this really cool, they've been playing music together for decades. They're like friends when they were 4, something gay like that. But they, you know, have this really cool harmony between the two of them and their style of guitar. So I'm trying to take what they do and then structure it around, like I introduced them to Dance Gavin Dance and some other kind of proggy post rock stuff. And they're like, oh, like that's kind of intricate, but I think we can create this sound within those like certain sections of these songs in order to get some, some solid hooks in here, some solid choruses, as opposed to just being music for music's sake. And we're working on that right now, trying to throw it together.
Cool.
Yeah.
So did you all kind of meet via the distillery?
Yeah, absolutely. Joe was in all the time because they were recording podcasts over here, and Steve was visiting with him. They actually both showed up to an open mic, and we all got to jam. And that's where it was like, that was pretty fucking fun. Like, did you know that song? I didn't know that song. You did? Oh, that's cute. Oh, that was Jack Johnson. I was like, no fucking shit. Of course it was. But it's like, but what we turned it into was, this very funky kind of bluesy thing that, like got us all talking afterwards. Like, hey, like we should probably talk about this later and try to do something out.
Right.
Yeah. So a couple weeks went by, and Steve went back to Boston. Steve came back down from Boston. Like, hey, you guys want to play some like cover shows? Which quickly was like, I don't want to play cover shows. So let's write music. I'm tired of playing other people's shit.
But unfortunately, unfortunately, it pays the bills, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, which is fine. People enjoy hearing us play stuff.
Right.
I get the free pass that whenever I get bored and for whatever godforsaken reason, I have my double bass pedal set up all the time. I'll just go to town when you don't need to hear it, and they all will turn back and laugh, and we'll just keep going like it never happened. So like, oh, Dave just had a tantrum. Hey, we're back to 4/4. Yeah, sorry, like, I'm done. We love one of our friends is Noel Scott White, who did some sound production for Sting and live drummer for him and all sorts of people and stuff. And one of our favorite things is watching him cringe when we do covers of, Sting and this type of stuff. And we just completely bastardize sections of the music and just take them. It's like, hey, like you want it this way. Here's this really, really slowed down reggae section where we just absolutely love tearing up what you think you like hearing and taking our spin on it. Which is kind of what I do with cocktails too. So that's just my life, really.
All right. Well, damn, Dave, that was not like we got together before the show, and that's a damn good segue into the rum portion hour of the the discussion here, right? Yeah. So
speaking of which, can you give me like 12 seconds? I'm out of one rum. I need 2 rums.
One rum. All right. Yeah.
Yeah. Really like 10 seconds. I'm right around from the bar.
Hey, don't you have like production assistants like the other podcast that's shot there?
No, I'm fucking Dave. I'm sitting here in the distillery alone, and that's great.
Man, I had to talk to Eric.
I'll be right back.
All right. So while we'll go ahead and take this quick break here. Well, damn, that was actually pretty quick, actually.
Yeah, man. I was just homey enough.
That was quicker. That was quicker than 12 seconds. Come on, man.
Oh yeah, man. I don't know what you're talking.
I'm on the clock. I'm on the clock. That's fine.
That's it. Salute.
Very good. So yeah, so the rum parts there. So I guess you started off in the service industry early. So what was that like? Working as a bus.
14. Yeah. That was again one of those things where my mom and dad told me like, "Hey, you're going to work for Uncle Frank this week." I'm like, "Okay, what does that mean?" Like, "You're working at the rib cage." I was like, "Doing what?" Like, "Oh, I don't know. He'll tell you when you get in there." I'm like, "Okay, fine." So yeah, I was a busboy for a while. I worked at Crapplebee's. I've worked fucking everywhere then, and just kept in the industry. Industry's always been good to me. And I don't want to say rose through the ranks or was pushed through the ranks or just hung around long enough until I got a good position. But just found a love for craft cocktails and like actually showing that I have a brain, or at least like showing the fact that like a bartender, as you know, you can read about, at the turn of the century was held as the same regard as a 5-star chef. If you walk into the closest bar to your establishment right now, like wherever the fuck you are, Paul, you go the closest bar. I guarantee you will not find, I hope, just because it's an analogy, like you will not find one person that holds it in that regard. Like holds like, it's not making Alabama slammers and bullshit all day long. It's actually knowing what the spirits behind your bar are, where they came from, why they are, the whole etymology behind, you know, what you're doing, how to shake correctly, how to present drinks correctly. You know, like the, if you're gonna be in a profession, like just be good at it. You know, like put the time in and understand where you came from and what you should be doing. You know, so like even when I worked in mom and pop shops, like outskirts of Clayton and whatnot, like I've still, you know, for the last, since I decided to put a book in front of my face again, you know, like taking that same approach, you know, like, hey, like this might be just the football place for Sunday, but like if you want an actual, like well done Cosmo, or you want a well done old fashioned, or like whatever you'll have
right.
for that, like I'm the guy that's gonna do it. You know, and, like you will see me working very studiously at what I am doing to make it and craft it for you, because it demands it. It demands it.
So that's interesting. What you just said there was, you know, I think you explained in a way that it's not just about, you know, the bartending and serving up this cocktail and knowing the craft. Again, we're going back to the craft, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just, you know, there's a correlation to the drumming, right? Drum.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Right? There's no clout about being good at what you do. It's just understanding that what you do deserves respect, and you have to give it that time and effort to create what is due. You know?
Right.
At least that's my philosophy.
Yeah. Hey, you know, anything that somebody does, right? You should always be taking their pride in what you do, what the presentation is, because, you can slap anything along, but then that goes stamped on who you are, right?
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Yeah. So, I mean, unless you're in a high volume kind of place where people don't give a shit what they're, you know, a nightclub or something, but, you know, but anyway.
Yeah, but I mean, like, we're not all fucking Tom Cruise, you know, who can just like stand on the top of a fucking bar and give a 3-minute soliloquy, you know? That is not what it is. So even in that fashion, not to cut you for that, but like, even in that avenue or that arena, you know, it's still a place where, you know, like, yes, I'm making a shit drink. This is an absolute trash cocktail. This is a trash person. Fine. That's okay. But at least I'm going through the process and doing it the right way. So maybe your fucking vodka Red Bull tastes better than the last asshole that made it.
Right. Yeah. There's unfortunately sometimes that those cocktails that you make that are not as challenging or rewarding. Again, there's that fine line of servicing, like you said, you know, in being in that service industry, and creating something for that customer. So
you know, and it's not necessarily either the like maybe TGI Fridays is synonymous with, you know, having your flair bartenders and that type of thing. Like, I don't need to flip a bottle 12 times and take 3 minutes to make a 1-second drink. You know, but like maybe you see the way that I use my jigger, or how I'm flipping things around in my hand, or pouring directly into this bottle. Cleanliness to and from, like, hey, I'm a studied dude. I'm a trained goon. I know what I'm doing. I'm a master of my world right here. You're in my world. I demand more than $1 per drink.
Right. Yeah. And I think something that goes too is right is the again, back to the service, the tip, the gratuity, right? That like, all right, well, you're I don't want to say performing, but I think you know what I mean, right?
You absolutely are,
right.
You know,
yeah.
And you know, maybe it's because I had, you know, so many years of a Shaco down my fucking nose like this. But, you know, like I'm not the John Taffer fucking smile behind the bar guy. Like, hey, like hey, we got a smile out of Dave. Go fuck yourself. I'm more often than not to give you the finger than anything else.
Well, I guess John's not. I guess John's not coming to the podcast now.
Hey man, he should give me a call. That's fine. The majority of the dudes that he has working on there are like local area reps and stuff, and they really don't know their shit. But like at least in speaking from how I am behind the bar, no. If my eyes are down, I'm fucking working, and I'm just churning out shit to make sure that you are not having to wait, and the product is going to be exactly the same way. If I have time to give you some personality, please, I have plenty of it. I would love to give it to you. I'm a glory hog. Like, it's okay. I will love to give it to you. Right. But right now, it's volume. It's time to go.
Right. It's a look. It's that fine line between being right. You're cranking it out, giving the customer what the hell they want, because some customers they don't want to chit chat. Just give me my fucking drink, right? And then, but right,
as much as you can. It's reading your people, but when you're 4 deep, dude, like show them that you know what you're doing. Like you can't be like we're training someone right now, and bless her heart, I was like, stop fucking looking nervous. Like, it's gonna be fine. Like, we're gonna get to 11 o'clock because it's only fucking 11 o'clock, like not 2 a.m. Like, it's gonna be okay. Like, fuck it up. Learn from it. Move on.
Right.
Like, if anything, send them over here. If they want to talk or bitch, I would love to put that shit down. Like, please come talk to me. Like, I will make it right or I'll make them hate me.
Right.
One of the two, but end all be all, like, for the business one, I want them to love us. Give me 2 seconds. I'll make anything you need. Just give me 2 seconds to clear my tins.
Right.
Ready to go.
Yeah. So so I guess how did your rum journey start from where got you to where you're at now? I guess.
So if you want to get down to it, my first section of my rum journey was in college. Mind you, it was not of age, and it was Pirate Bay, which is not rum. But no, dude, yeah, exactly. I think it was the dragon fruit. God awful. I could drink a pint of it a night and not have a hangover the next day, but I was also 18, 19, so that is what it is.
Isn't that White Claw?
Now it's White Claw, absolutely. But then there was Four Loko and Sparks and all that trash.
Well, yeah. The good Four Loko is not available anymore.
Yeah, correct. Well, thank God. I have a terrible story that I'm not going to say on air.
When I come to visit you guys, when I come to visit you guys, you will tell me that story.
Oh God, it's awful. It's awful. Should go to jail for it. It's really bad. Man, trucks and musical instruments and good God.
That sounds good.
Yeah. But no, man, it really started, probably the bottle that got me into everything, take it or leave it, was Plantation Original Dark.
Okay.
And again, take it or leave it, like I don't prescribe to the whole notion that, there's additives or yada, yada. Like, if you are honest about what's on the front of the bottle, I don't fucking care. Does it taste good? Does it fill my needs? Awesome. That's cool. As long as it's not synthetic. That's literally my only rule. If it's synthetic or Solera, because Solera is bullshit, I just don't care. So, it's, like their 3 Island blend, like 2 years there, finished in cognac barrels in France, that was a cool story, and that's, then you get into Zacapa and Zaya and Diplomatico, like the really easy Venezuelan, sweet, thick Guatemalan rums. But, then like, especially because it's difficult because I live in North Carolina, which fucking sucks when it comes to liquor sales, ABC stores. It's a controlled state. You can't find shit at the store, So anytime we're out of town, it's like, dude, we're stopping at an ABC store.
You're stocking up.
Yeah, man. Like, I gotta see what I got. So like, when my friends are out wherever, I'm like, hey, I'm good for it. Bring me back a bottle. It can't be from the U.S. and it can't be from Nicaragua because fuck that place. Florida Cana is trash. I don't care who you are. They don't treat their workers right. Blah 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 blah. I said it again. But that's really where it began. And just kind of doing a tour as I could find it around the Caribbean and Pacific Islands, whatnot, like whatever I could find. Before COVID, I had over 90 bottles sitting at the top of our kitchen shelves from all over the fucking place, and now there's like none of those that exist. It really makes me want to cry. It is what it is, but
right.
Shit. Yeah. that's really where it is. Right?
It's fun, and it's funny, Dave, is as I've been doing this for the podcast for now a year, and talking to distillers and people that are throughout the U.S. I've talked to some people that are overseas as well, but it's like and even here in Florida, right? And I'm sure like you just said, North Carolina's a control state. Even here in Florida, it's crazy. That's why, obviously, and we could talk a little bit about, the three ladies.
Absolutely,
here.
Yeah, we'll talk about them here in a minute.
And
gotta plug them.
And because I actually went up to, when I was up visiting family, and I'm in South Florida. I have family that live up in Central and North Florida, and I've been talking with Eric, on and off and so forth, and and I was like, well, I want to check it out, right? And where do I got to go and find it and so forth? I know, and him and I have been talking about a few things, and maybe you, him, and Joe, and maybe we could talk about a South Florida trip for you guys too. That'd be kind of cool. Absolutely. Right? And maybe bring some rum and live music while you guys are at it. So definitely, let's, we'll
absolutely, no. That's been the plan. We have there's a couple things in the works. That we're trying to make happen. That'll make that a lot easier. But dude, like getting to the Jupiter area, like West Palm, dude, like let's fucking do it. I have my first, and I know we're getting a little sidetracked here. I have my first live again. Owe it to Eric. He's great, been a great, kind of resource, right? Yeah, yep. And bounce things off of, and he's been doing things. And I'm doing my first rum night here at a local restaurant. There's a company that's a local company here in West Palm. And, if that goes well, I want to continue it and definitely have you guys, Instill come down, do a rum night, very same thing, very same concept, and bringing music with it, right? So man, we'd love to do that, man. Like education on craft rums, or like I don't even really want to call it craft rums. I just want to call it non-big three.
Yeah,
right. Like, don't fucking talk to me about any nautical asshole, a sailor, captain, admiral, or like any of those guys. Kraken is not spiced rum. I don't care who you are. Like don't talk to me about Bacardi. Like I don't want to hear it. Yes. Are they indicative of where they came from and why they are? Yes, they are. That is okay. That's perfectly fine.
Right.
But they give everything else that is the rum community a terrible name. And I working in a distillery that has a tasting bar. Like I get to tell the story every day.
Right.
Like I constantly have my fucking pitchfork out, like ready to go burn some shit down.
But I guess Dave, is that's an interesting because. Other craft, when I started this off, it was rum. And then I got a chance to talk to people I was like, maybe there's more of a honing into craft rum and not just rum in general, broad scale. And the craft rum, folks that we've talked to is there's a whole thing there, right? There's a, whether it's a familyness aspect of it, hardworking, the little guy, and a product they can kind of really hone into, create their so forth, and just because you own a distillery or run a whatever, you're not Bacardi money or big the big guy money, right? But you're making an honest living, and it's fortunate is that some of the laws have been very restrictive, whereas what maybe 10 years prior with craft beer, and they went through and all that, and then of course the big guys also started taking notice and then start buying everybody up. And I think that's ultimately what everybody wants. If you're in a craft business, is saying, hey, come out and buy me. Hey, if you pay me the $10 million, and it does happen, right? But
yeah, absolutely. And like there's many business plans that are built off of that, and that's totally cool. But at least build it with integrity and move through. Like when you talk about like, and don't get me wrong, I do not know many craft, at least rum distilleries in Florida. There's one other one in North Carolina that I respect. But if you want to talk about craft rum in general, I got 3 off the top of my head, and none of them are here. Like they've been around for forever.
Right.
And they're doing the fucking thing up north and in Tennessee. But that's really it, and no one really talks about them. So when you say craft rum, I just want it to be turned away from basically the normal bar wells. Like I don't want to discuss those two things in the same context because they're completely two different things. The history of rum and just like what happens in the tropics and where everything is regionalized based off of who settled where and who taught who to distill and how, like it's so verbose. It's crazy, like just a few, latitude lines along changes the world. And, even up here, like, fuck, I had a Filipino run 2 weeks ago. Buddy went to New York, brought me down a bottle. He went to a real shit store. He went for scotch, wasn't what it was. And there was literally 2 bottles on the wall that I'd never seen before in my life. I was like, what the fuck is Don Papa? Like looked at this. I was like, read for a second. It's like, it's a 3.5 on someone's review list, whatever. I was like, oh, but I've never had it. Never had a Filipino rum. It's fucking like their sugarcane fields grow on top of volcanic ash. This thing is like as black as fucking possible, but it's not a blackstrap lie rum. I'm like, okay, cool, sweet. Like, let's do the thing. Like you don't get that with any other spirit. You don't get that excitement with it.
Right.
Like, don't talk to me about your grandpappy's fucking recipe. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like it craft rum is all rum that is not the big ones.
Right.
It's all different for its own family's reasons. It's really cool. It's a lot of fun.
It
sucks that no one knows about it.
Well, right, and the more I've evolved into, and somebody asked me the question is like, well, why did you come up with the name and how'd you get the name? And it was, it's like, all right, well, one is okay. Look, I play the drums. I like rum. Okay, it's catchy, right? Let me just call the bullshit out where it is, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And but at the same time, it's like the more, like I said, evolved into it, it's like there's an interesting story behind all of this. Whether it was a guest that was in Colorado, right? They're in Colorado and they age their rum 5,000, 7,000 feet up up in the mountains, or a company that's in New Orleans, one of the oldest, I guess, distillers in the country, rum distillers in the country. And then and somebody said to me, rum is like a global spirit,
Yeah,
it's not just, bourbon. Obviously bourbon only can be made in, or, certain
US,
aspects.
whatever.
Yeah. And then,
too many rules.
Yeah. Here, and they were making rum in Scotland. They're again, we're Scotch is the what everyone knows them for. And
but whatever you do, they what is it, the Glenlivet Caribbean cast? Don't fall for that shit.
No, this was our who the folks that we had. Yeah, the folks we had on was Jacobite Spirits. So, but it's crazy is. And a guest that I had on earlier this year was one of our rum reviewers, our mid-show rum review, and he is in the UK, and he's like, "Oh, have you tried Montagna rum?" And they're the one in Colorado, and I'm like, no, and I've not. But again, craft, small, because I go into the liquor store here in Florida, I see what I see, And how do you, as a distiller, right, get out to the masses and people know? I mean, the internet is there, but shit, there's a whole lot of restriction even on the internet, right?
Yeah, it's fucking grassroots, man.
Yeah.
I just started last week. Finally got my brokerage representative license, and like, Jesus, like, I can go to an individual bar and I can talk to them. I can sell our shit,
Right.
and that works. So it doesn't work either way. Like, whatever. At least I'm educating somebody on something that I'm passionate about. But from there, then we in North Carolina, they say they want the thing. They want our rum. Awesome. But then they have to place their order through the local ABC store. Well, that's fine. They can place that, but the local ABC store might not have our rum in there. So then we've got to contact the ABC store and beg them to get our rum in there. If it's in the county that we're already in, of which we have to talk to the fucking commissioner to get it into the county that was in.
Right.
It's a racket, and the old white man gets all the money. It's fucking stupid.
Yeah, it's on. Unfortunately, it's probably more profitable if you wanted to look at it from a business perspective as being in the middle rather than, selling it or making it, right? So, but yeah, I hear you. Well, there's a ABC here locally that does carry Richland, and I know Eric and I have talked about Richland, right?
Richland's
and
good.
They do a ship to store. And I don't know if that's something, obviously I know you guys are working hard to getting into Florida. Obviously, that's how I came across.
Yeah, I was going to
these.
say, I was like, we just got into South Florida, about 2 weeks ago.
Whereabouts?
I wish I could tell you. That's more Eric than me. I can only listen to Eric for so long. Like we were in North Florida and Central Florida, and then he did he had a meeting online Zoom, whatever, with the distribution company, and they introduced the product for South Florida.
Okay.
So I know if it isn't there already, it's on the way, and we are hopefully going to be down there in the next 2 weeks promoting that and running amok. All right. What we do.
Yeah, you let me know.
Oh, I will.
Yeah, no, you let me know. Like I said, I'm in West Palm, and like I said, well, I guess good segue, right? The three ladies here. So right,
the three ladies, man.
So all right, so we have the Ava, right?
Yeah. So if you want to, let's get down to brass tacks. Let's start with the white, if that's okay.
Yeah.
So the one in the middle here. So that's our Lady One. That's the juice that we use to create the rest of our rum. It is a 2020 John Barleycorn gold medal winning rum, or placing rum, however you fucking say that. We had got a 92.5, which is the same rating that Elijah Craig Small Batch got. Pretty dope fucking bottle. We make it in a similar style to a Martinique style rum, using a product that is unique to us called jaggery. Jaggery is dehydrated sugarcane juice from India. Through the process that they create the jaggery, they press the juice out of the cane and then cook it over a large copper vat using the stalks from the cane. So it's very similar to how they do mezcal. So when you taste our rum, there's a really cool cigar ash earthiness that comes with it, which is really, really cool. So, like, you start Martinique, so you're going to have that really cool fresh cut grass scent, very, very clean taste. Ours will develop into a little bit of a cigar ash toffee with a little bit of apricot and pear, and then it'll caramelize through the finish of the tasting. Obviously you put your wash together, your build together, right? So we have jaggery, a little bit of molasses we get from Tampa by way of Buffalo, because that's the easiest way to get shit in North Carolina, and a little bit of white sugar. When we were creating this rum, well before me being involved with the distillery, we came to find out that American strains of yeast do not eat through jaggery. It's just too tough. It's too potent. So we had to get with a scientist chemist and come up with our own proprietary strain of yeast in order to eat through the jaggery, which is completely unique to us. So when we created that, the esters and everything that we have worked with and worked on in our Dunder Pit, a couple rooms across from me right now, we developed a really cool Hogo ester and funk that is, obviously synonymous with your Jamaican style rums. So there is this kind of weird barky umami flavor that will hit the tannins in the side of the mouth as you drink it. I really love calling this a three-banger. When it comes to the countries that it emulates, obviously the Martinique style, the Jamaican hogo, and the caramelized flavor that if you roll it off the tip of your tongue is very, obviously synonymous with your Barbadian styles of rum. Really, really love Lady Wood. The labels are all kind of designed over the fact that no one works harder than a true lady, and the fact that when you go into a liquor store, it's just inherently masculine and boring. The dudes who started our distillery and business were and are huge wine nerds. So when you start working through that, you go into a wine shop, you look at wine bottles. It's much more of an art fest than it is, the large plated, gentlemen's names throughout everywhere that's in a normal liquor store. So that's how we went about with the white. And that's actually Marissa Best. She's a doctor and physician in New Orleans, children's doctor and physician, and she happens to be the fiance of our artist Bruce Corona. So that's pretty dope. So again, saying that's our juice, and it's fantastic. It was designed as a white sipping rum. How many do you really know about that? It was designed to be drank on the rocks or not, whatever you want to do, with a cigar. Yeah, absolutely love it. Stands up in cocktails all the time. I love daiquiris with this bottle. It's just so versatile, especially when it gets a little bit colder. It can mimic some higher end tequila flavors. So if you think of I don't know if you ever had it. It's a fucking stupid expensive bottle, and just because of the place I used to work is the only reason I know about it. It's the Don Julio Real. The first taste I got with this, I was like, Jesus Christ, this tastes like a $300 tequila. How did you do that? That's fucking crazy. So we always have a bottle in the freezer behind the bar, just to give straight shots of that. And they're like, oh wow, that does taste like tequila when it's cold. Good for you. Yeah. What did you think?
Right. It's definitely I've been sipping on Ava
right?
all night, right? Yeah, and
Yeah,
then
so
going to the base, the silver.
Yeah, Lady One.
Right, is definitely it's very smooth, and I've got no ice left on this glass, so it's definitely it's a very very smooth flavor. So it's. I think for those that are used to drinking, I think this is the point you're making, Dave, right? Is that are used to drinking, having rum cocktails, other than the big players, there is some really good stuff, right?
Yeah, man.
That you can just drink straight up. And I think there's a lot of folks too, and it's maybe you and I need to talk about this. Some other little offshoot would love to do a whole how to convince cold blind taste test hardcore bourbon whiskey people into drinking rum.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? It's craft rum, because there's a lot that are like, this don't taste like rum. It's like, well, no shit. It isn't just all fruity drinks from the islands, right? But
yeah, it's like...
Yeah.
Dude, it's my fucking,
I know.
It is my soapbox.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I know. Well, I knew it was gonna set you off. And
yeah, man. It boils down to the fact that you have to understand that white Puerto Rican rum is white Puerto Rican rum. That is the world's most famous rum for a reason. It doesn't have to be a good reason. There's plenty of actual white rum. Oh, look, ice delivery. You even have assistants.
I know.
Fuck you, Eric. God damn it. So, but when you get down to it, white rum, no matter where it's from, can be fantastic and be full flavor, and move. If you want to talk to someone about them creating their favorite whiskey old fashioned, right? Their traditional old fashioned. how long did it take for them to figure out like, oh, well, I really like this build. I really like this rye bottle. It's the exact same thing.
It's hard to interrupt. Tequila. Yeah, you're right. It's definitely got a different. It's definitely got a different taste when it's once it's on ice, right? Shit, I'm fucking spilling it all over my keyboard here.
Yeah, man, it happens. I get it. But like the fun part about rum cocktails too. Like when you go through all of Beachcomber shit, you go through Beachbum Berry shit, you go through all the old school guys, right? And you see the evolution of certain drinks based off of who took it where and when they took it where, what rum was available when, how they changed the recipe to and from, what islands they used to change that recipe from. Like that's what the fun part about, like taking your standard drinks, like my two things when I taste any rum, I make a daiquiri and I make a grog. Based off of those two things, I know exactly how I'm going to use this rum. And that's the fun part. Like you have educating the layman on how exactly to do that and how to go about that is very difficult.
Well, so
you got to break down the, hey, dude, you're not putting fucking Coke in this.
Well, yeah.
This does not go with some really thick fucking puree right now. Like,
but I guess, but how do you again, serving drinks to folks that are asking for something specific, but how do you break down that whole, a little bit of that educating, right? And
the first thing that I do is I tell them directly, this is a craft bar. All of the drinks are balanced. I work very hard to make sure that they are balanced based off of like, dude, we fucking sell things in plastic cups, okay? Because we don't have a dishwasher. We are grassroots. This is a whiskey-ware glass. Eric, you're welcome. But, like, we don't have a commercial dishwasher. So we're in plastic glasses. So, dude, these are fucking 14-ounce cups with a lot of ice in them and drinks that are built to be that way. But when you talk about pucker, you talk about sour, you talk about tart, you talk about, your sweetness based off of real ingredients, fruit juices that are fresh, that have sweetness to them. Everything can be blended in a way that is going to give you all of the flavors together. It's very important to have tart when you have your traditional, oceanic style, escapist drinks. It's very important, and like people aren't ready for that. It's like, well, like most of the rum cocktails I've had have been very sweet. You didn't have one from me.
Right.
Sorry. Your bartender probably doesn't read these books for fun.
Right.
I do. So at least like give me one chance. If you don't like it, I'll add sugar to it for it, because I'm sure that's what you're going to ask. Like, oh, well, I didn't think it was going to be sweet, but it can be sweeter. Like, I know.
Yeah.
Okay on it.
Yeah, but and you hit on a point that I've talked on in previous shows where just because it's made from sugar, right,
doesn't mean it's sweet.
Exactly, right.
It again, doesn't.
Right. So there's a crazy I don't want to I don't know whatever term you want to call it, but yeah, just because rum daiquiris, frozen daiquiris, painkillers, all those crazy drinks you drink on while you're on the beach or on the cruise ship or wherever they may be, right? There's this whole sense of the over sweetness. It's like somebody said to me the other day. It's like, well,
I'm sure they put all that sugar in there so you have a fucking sugar coma and you can't get sunburnt on the deck.
Yeah.
Like, I'm positive that's why they're so sugary.
Right, yeah. But I mean,
it's like, hey, man, I can't deal with sun poisoning today from 130 passengers.
Yeah,
so
right.
I'm going to overserve them. They're going inside, taking a nap. We're good.
Right, get their sugar crash. But 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 you're, if you have a vodka, it's not like you taste the vodka, right? And
no,
I mean,
vodka's
again,
a throwaway fucking distilled product.
Right.
It's a waste of time.
Right.
I have really cool ingredients. I don't know exactly which one to put it because of price point or something else. Just fucking throw vodka in there and they'll be fine.
Right. Right.
That's what we do in the world.
So we need to do we need to do a spinoff, Dave. Here is where we try to talk to people about convincing them about, drinking rum, good quality craft rum, and how you probably could convince, like I said, those whiskey bourbon drinkers how, like, wow, this actually tastes very similar to what I've been drinking, whatever the,
Yeah, absolutely.
XYZ.
And um, furthermore, I have to look at my bar to see what the fuck I was going to talk about. Furthermore, from there, if you're trying to dial in a flavor, whether it's a sugar you're using, whether you're going to source the citrus directly or change it up just a little bit, bitters will solve the majority of your problem if you know how to use them and when to use them. Yes, Angostura bitters all the time. Love it. Wonderful. But, like when you get into more barky or different barky and floral style bitters, there's so many products on the market.
Right.
It's just understanding what you're trying to get at. You can change it. One of the favorite things I did when I took over this bar in late July, August, was I sat here and I made everyone taste every type of sugar I could possibly bring out. I made them taste our rum with a bar spoon of all of it in there. And I gave them toothbrushes and toothpaste afterwards. But like we went down the line and did bitters. Like, this is what these are. Like, you need to know this stuff. You can change your recipes based off of which one you're using, and you can mimic goddamn almost everything. That's why we built the fucking Ava rum, is because we are inundated in beer and whiskey culture. Like we wanted something that kind of gives the answer for it. Does it? Yeah, sure. It's got heavy oak and vanilla flavors. It's an 86 proof as opposed to 80, which is everything else. But the thing about it, though, from someone who has had a lot of aged rum from the Caribbean, sure, does that remind you of whiskey? Fine. That's awesome. That reminds me of some damn good 5-year-old rums out of Martinique. Like, it's good shit. It's just where you're educated to and what you're susceptible into drinking and understanding,
right?
And where you want to move through. Rum, especially a high class rum, is very classy. Like, it is classy. It is just as classy as your $80 bottle of fucking bourbon.
Yeah, there's almost a, back to, as I was mentioning about in Scotland, was there's a whole resurgence, right, in rum in Scotland, and there used to be like one of the main things in the UK. Obviously, you look at the islands, moving products up in the molasses and so forth up into the, to the back to the UK, where obviously all the ships and so forth. So it's I think it's a very exciting time right now, where if you look at what the craft, like I said, the craft beer, they went and there was a whole big explosion. Everyone was brewing and all this stuff. And then I think, right, the time is now. I think there's a great renaissance here, or age, of craft rum, right? Everyone's got a little bit of a different nuance and different barrels they might be using.
I've been saying for the last couple of years, and by all means, like, I'm not an expert, and I'm not, anyone who's writing pieces for, books or anything else. But, looking at your companies like Foursquare and what they're doing down at Mount Gay, what they're doing all over the place, like, there's some extra age shit. There are some finishes that have plenty of vintage, that have plenty of barrels sitting around, that are just as good and will go just for the same amount of money as your fucking Pappies and your once released whatnot. It's just going to take a year or two, a year or 2, 3, 4, whatever, for the actual rum vintage to come around where it's sought after like that. And when we become sought after as, all these actually, more often than not living up to their name bourbons, it's going to be okay. And that's when we're all going to catch the real resurgence. Right now, it's like, like, you guys can do some cool things. It's like, oh, well, look at, like Privateer, Maggie's Farm. Like, they've been doing good shit for a long time. You know, like, what's the one out of Tennessee I mentioned earlier? Pritchard's. You know, like the oldest American rum recipe that is still in production. Like their original dark is fucking fantastic. You know, and nobody's talking about that.
All right, Dave. So I am
spiced,
port.
right?
Yeah, that's right. The spice.
Yeah, man.
All right. So which
Yeah,
bottle
dude.
is this?
So this is Lady 2. We kind of jumped around. We talked about Lady 1, we went to Lady 3, and now we're talking about Lady 2. Lady 2 is our spiced rum. And it's obviously right in front of your nose now, so you notice that it is a spiced rum.
Yep.
Yeah, so tell me what other spiced rum you can fucking say that about. And don't mention any captains, admirals, or sailors. My running joke is if you can tell me 2 flavors you taste besides cinnamon and allspice in a spiced rum that I name off the top of my head, I'll give you $100. And I never have $100 in my pocket because no one's ever gonna fucking do it. The cool part about our spiced rum is we use 7 spices, right? Cinnamon, cardamom, nutmeg, allspice, star anise, oak, and vanilla. You smell, you taste all of them. It exists on the nose, it exists in the body, it exists in the finish. You're not worried about how it is sweet or amber in color. It's a dark rum, and I'm scared of this. Like, no, it smells like a kitchen.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
in a great way. And I can't say enough about it, but it's easy to say too much about it. Like, it's my favorite spice rum because of the product that it is. We at the distillery still believe there's a little bit too much cinnamon. There's been some conjecture within the couple of us in here on how to fix that, how to move away from that. You know, we're still developing it because we honestly believe in not being finished. Like even with the white, we're not finished with the white.
Right.
You know, we're trying to get there. I have some ideas. I'm not going to, break the ice on what those are because I'm also not the distiller. But we all talk intimately about what we think should happen.
Right.
And there is some people listen, some people hear, and some people do. And it's just a matter of who that is within the conversation.
Well, so I guess that's the thing. It's it's a good point, Dave. Is the talk about the craft rum crowd, right? So where typically most folks are, again, it's an education thing. Where, like we just talked about, here, try this on ice or try it neat. But then most people just say, I'm just going to write to when you go out to a place, a rum and coke or a this. Mm-hmm. And, so, I mean, there's a little bit of the education of the whether there's a, whether the right kind of mixing, right? So,
yeah. And honestly, like I've put a lot of thought into this, especially as I've gone on the road and I've given as many tours in here as possible. But I honestly just want to sit with everyone that sells our product and go, look, I've poured more of this than you ever will. This is my take on it, not because I'm right, because I've seen it work, but just taking notes from the people that teach you is so important. Yeah, sure. You want to run and throw that in Coke? Fine. Bastardize anything. I don't care. The first time I had, what is it, the Pappy 21, took a sip of it. 2 seconds later, I threw ice in it. 2 seconds later after that, I put Diet Coke in it, and everyone went, what the fuck are you doing? I was like, it's my fucking glass, and this is the most expensive, bourbon and diet I've ever had. What are you going to say about it? Like, who gives a shit? Yeah. But the cool part is, especially with that bottle, man, like, punches, all sort of exotic fruits, all sorts of teas, just bolstering extra flavor throughout that. Like when you look at the actually Hindu word punch, like where we get the 5 different ingredients for a punch, classically, those are the type of things that like I wish people would know. Like the actual like old rum punch recipe that is behind every bar Rolodex is garbage. I just had to answer that question today at the bar on Sunday on Mother's Day. Wasn't ready for that. I was like, no, dude, like my seasonal rum punch, you know, it's peach, it's pineapple, it's Earl Grey tea, it's cinnamon with our spiced rum. Like, it's what it's supposed to be. They're like, oh, okay, well, it's very different. Yes, it is very different. That's how it goes, man. But, you know, like, if there was a card or a, hey, look at me, you know, read this before you pour this bottle, like, this is what you should do.
Right.
You know, you've got to get trainers and you have to get bartenders and, you know, bar managers, like, on board with, you know, like, actually training people to not just, you know, pour beer, pour quick drinks.
Right.
You know, that's tough, you know.
Yeah.
That's all your arena. That's all your arena, your avenue, like, whatever the hell you do, you know.
It's you know, through
all
those
of us are lifers.
Right.
You know?
And through those things, right. It's like you said, there's an education of those that are willing to try something to be a little bit more open, right? They're going to go up there and ask for the same old, and yeah, here's a crazy one to I throw at you, right? So I've not done like the formal bartending school class, whatever, you know. I've worked in, you know, places and, you know, thrown into it, learn and so forth. And when I was, you know, that time, it was before really the internet or apps and all that, right? It was the books and so forth. So most recently it was a place here in town, you know, and we went in and I'm like, I have this idea. I'm gonna throw it out there and ask the, you know, the you know, the girls to give it a try. It was they have a, you know, like a smoked old fashioned, right?
Which is bullshit. I'm
So
so over a smoked fucking old fashioned. It's
so
just a gimmick.
Yeah, so we're gonna
a gimmick. That's all you smell is the fucking wood you smoked. That's all you taste.
Right.
Waste of your bourbon.
Yeah,
Put
so
fucking a $9 bottle in there and call it a fucking day.
Man, damn, I didn't fucking realize I hit a sore subject there.
Pick a cocktail, brother. Like, we'll talk.
So I went in there. I was like, all right, well, let's do a old, you know, this whole thing though, but with a rum rather than a bourbon or whatever the fuck it was, right? And the first one we just ended up picking was more of a clear, more of a lighter rum, and a little the amount of smoke wasn't quite, it was a little too much. The second time what we ended up doing was more of a dark rum. I think it ended up being Real McCoy, and
which is a good bottle.
Yeah,
it's a great bottle.
And I said, just dial back the smoke a little bit. And I'm like, man, this is definitely like really good. Now I know there's a company that's out there really like stolen smoke, whatever it was. They got a couple other products too, but you get definitely a smoky taste to it. And but anyway, I'm in that sense of, you know, back to the, you know, creating drinks. Apparently that's what my wife tells everybody why she married me, was because I was a, you know, bartender and I, you know, could make a slow gin fizz. You know, that was her drink at the time. And but yeah, it's like, you know, it's like going back to the drums, right? It's like that creativeness, right? All right, what is this? Let's try this. Let's try this. And, you know, you're kind of like mad fucking scientist going on here, right?
Yeah, and like add some of this, less of this. Like, who came from this? Well, I'll take some of that.
Right.
Cool. Yeah, and that's flavor profiling 101.
Right.
That's how you flavor what you're doing.
And it's great to have, you know, especially when you have people over your house. Well, now that or I guess we're allowed to start having people over your house, is here, try this. You know, it's great though. Definitely have friends that are willing to try your fucking crazy concoctions, right?
Oh, absolutely. Mine are forced. They usually don't have too much choice in it, but most go willingly. Usually.
Right.
But like, again, too, like, you know, that goes into cocktail creation. You know, like, you have to know what your audience is and what you're going for.
Yeah. Right.
I tell everyone at the bar, they're like, well, what's your favorite? I was like, don't fucking ask me that, because I drink a lot of weird shit, and it is not more than likely what you are going to like.
Right.
And I was like, this whole thing that I've
created that has, words on it, prices and pictures and whatnot. Like, this is for you because I know that you are my audience and I have created these for you.
Right.
So they're not too fucking weird, but are just good enough that I'm pretty sure you use your buzzword, you'll find what you like and you'll enjoy it.
All right. So this Palmetto, I know I could have Googled it. What the hell is what is the Palmetto?
Palmetto is a rum Manhattan.
Okay.
Rum Manhattan, man. So you pick your rum. My guilty pleasure, and this is absolute guilty pleasure, Palmetto is a plantation pineapple Palmetto. If you've had or have not had that, I hate plugging them all the time, but they're the rum that got me into, for better or worse, got me into understanding and seeking more rum.
So if I was gonna make this with Instill, which one would it be?
Instill, you're gonna use the Ava.
Okay.
Lady 3.
Yeah.
Lady 3 on the far side with the hat. That's Temple Phipps, one of our friends.
There you go.
There you go. So you're gonna use Lady 3. You'll do 2 ounces of that. From there, you're gonna add an ounce of sweet vermouth. Pick whichever one you want, man. I don't care if it's Torino. I don't care what it is. It means nothing. Like, whatever to your preference. It's gonna be a little bit sweeter of a drink to begin with. But for the next way that you would go in a Manhattan is you're gonna add Angostura bitters and orange bitters, usually 2 dashes of each. Personally, for me, I like to go a little bit weird, and I like adding 2 extra dashes of Peychaud's bitters with it. Just to get some of that star anise in there. Peychaud's are super funky, absolutely one of my favorites. But yeah, you're gonna take all those things. So it's 2s, right? 2 ounces of rum, 1 ounce of sweet vermouth, 2 dashes of Ango, orange, and Peychaud's bitters. Stir it up for about 12 seconds vigorously. Strain it off. You can do a low ball. You can do a coupe. You can do a Nicanora. You can do whatever the hell you want. It's your fucking glass. Drink it. Enjoy it. I love making one of our. I make Ava rum infused cherries because we don't use bourbon. And I actually try to create a Sazerac-ish kind of taste when I'm doing my rum cherries or my Ava cherries. Just because that's what I used to do at another bar, and I just fell in love with it. So I always pick a cherry and put a orange zest on top of it. Absolutely my favorite drink, without question. Good old Palmetto.
Well,
made well, and it better not be a room temperature.
We would definitely have to try. We would definitely have to try that. Damn.
Well, I'll teach you. We actually plugging myself. We do not carry a license for any spirit other than ours in Instill. So every infusion from fake Jaeger to fake Midori to fake Luxardo Maraschino to everything is me and a camping burner figuring out flavors, and with my whatever herbs and spices and anything that I can bring in and fruits to create those flavors. I make a fake sweet vermouth, which thankfully I knocked out of the park attempt 1. It was very, very difficult to figure out, and there was kind of a trial 1 and 2, but it was still sizzling, so it was okay. Still attempt 1, but I've had numerous pals come in and they're like, dude, like, this is your fake vermouth? Like, dude, this is better than that bullshit $9 bottle of vermouth that I have in my spot. Like, no, dude, like, you need a flavor profile. That's what I was going for, man.
That's it, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Cool. All right, Dave. So as we start kind of coming down to the end here, so I don't know if you've checked out the podcast and listened before. What we do here is what we call the in 4 sips or less, or for depending on who the guest is, right? It's in 4 sips or less for those that are rummers, and for those that are drummers, it's the 4 beats or less. Well, I don't know what the hell to call you, right? Because right now you're both, right? We've talked about both, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
we'll just
everything.
call it in 4 sips, right? And insert whatever, because So again, these are just questions like what first comes to mind. The question, like this or that, yes or no, or whatever the case may be. So you ready for the lightning round here?
Yeah, man.
For big cash prizes.
I will be quick. Yes. Sorry, I'm the son of a university professor. Like, I love hearing the sound of my own voice because my father. And I'm sorry to everybody.
All right, so here we go. In 4 sips or less, on the rocks or neat.
Don't fucking care. I love everything cold. Cold. Doesn't have to be diluted, just cold. Put it in the fucking freezer for a minute.
All right, that's fair. Like, where we keep our Jaeger and Goldschlager in the fridge,
Yeah,
right?
just put it in the fridge, man. I don't want it at room temperature.
Yeah. There you go. That's a good tip there, right? For folks that are just, again, sipping,
If I'm ever at your house party, like, put a bottle of rum in the freezer.
Yeah. Don't worry, Dave. If you ever come to my house party, I have the kind of wife, this, props to Mother's Day here is that, I have drums like right in the middle of our fucking living room in our house. So, yeah. Awesome. You got an open invitation there.
You're right at home.
Yeah. All right. So, favorite instrument that is not drums or a drum set?
Does that include percussion?
No.
Okay. Marimba.
Okay.
Marimba is beautiful.
Which that's a little stretch, right? It's a little stretch percussion, right?
It's still percussion.
Okay.
It's not that big of a stretch. But dude, like a rosewood marimba, there's nothing like it.
Yes.
Some light mallets on there, or like not light as in the big fucking thick soft ones. Like, oh my god, I go to sleep with that shit.
That's a whole separate instrument. It's like, well, it goes back to like what most people don't realize is right. Piano is actually in the percussion family, right. So
hammers hitting the strings.
Yep.
It's a hybrid.
Yep. So it's a awkward. Well, right, not awkward, but yeah.
Well, I mean, again, Mom was a choir director growing up, so I took piano lessons. I was miserable at them, and I hated them, and did whatever. But man, did they pay off later, especially when you're talking about marimba. Marimba is the hand or the two four stick piano. Or 2 stick, however you're looking at it.
Right.
The timbre of a marimba is so much more appealing to me than any piano. I don't care who you are.
All right, so here we go. So since you were in the drum corps, was the movie Drumline anything close to the real thing?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Now, don't get me wrong. HBCU style lines and whatnot, cannot speak for it. Know a lot of dudes that teach it, have been in it, whatnot. I'm sure some of that has to do with what they do, but I can't speak for it. Drum Corps International and the actual core style marching has nothing to do with what Drumline the movie is. 1 or 2.
All right. Last one. What's the one thing you... The fuck did I write you there? Got my freaking content. I've been out and sitting in the pool all day today. What's the one thing you... Okay. All right. So what's the one thing you would trade on what you do today? Like, what's your day-to-day... Yeah. What's the one thing that
The one thing I would do differently?
Yeah. Ooh. This is supposed to be... This is supposed to be even 4 beats or less, Dave. Come on. 1, 2, 3, 4...
I really don't know. Yeah, I really don't know. I don't know what I would do differently. I'd play more music. I would drink more rum. I would live a lot freer. It's like, what existential problem do I want to fix first with that question?
I think that was deeper than what you actually intended it to be. Or, like we're 2 hours in and,
yeah, right.
2-3 drinks. It's like, hey, man, let's get
Yeah,
philosophical.
right.
You ready for 3 hours?
Yeah. I would shake the cocktails left-handed instead.
Yeah, but that depends on what type of shoe I had on. Yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Doesn't work.
Oh, yeah. No, all good. All definitely all good. So, so no, I totally had a great conversation. And Eric was right. Was discussing with you, sitting there talking about drums, rums, all sorts of the gambit of the whole topic, right?
It's the tip of the iceberg too, man. Like
Right.
we'll get up and we'll do the thing, and we'll annoy the shit out of him because that's what he does with me. And in all honesty, love Eric to death.
Yeah, he did tell me to call you. He did tell me to call you David. So if you notice when I called you, when I called you the other day,
right? Yeah. No. Like no, we work really well together, in the fact that our personalities are very very similar. And we view the world two completely different ways. So we're working together for what Instill does, like that dichotomy between, his doer, my thinker, like all like whatever inside joke we actually want to go with it at the time. It's really good and will only bring further plans to fruition in a really profitable way. But hopefully, should be good.
No, definitely all good. So So, Dave, what do you got to promote there? So let's throw out.
So if I'm promoting anything, obviously I'm promoting Instill Distilling Company with our fantastic rum and soon to be seltzer too. That will be available in the Florida market sometime around July. That's just a little Easter egg there. I won't talk anymore about it. Also, promoting As We All Float Band. Be looking out. There's numerous things, whether it be in Texas, whether it be in Florida, whether it be all over the Carolinas, Boston. We have a lot of really cool opportunities that are coming to us this summer. We're looking to capitalize on that, as well as release some new music while we're doing the same thing. So do check that out. Instagram, Facebook, all that type of shit. I think this is my big two that's important to me right now. Yeah.
Very cool. Now, rum and drums, right? Definitely.
Oh yeah.
Yes, for sure. So,
it's a life choice.
Where's the tattoo?
Right. It's not real if it's not ink.
Yeah. Well, it's like ride or die, right? Rums or drums.
Exactly. I still got to get my barrel here, man. Waiting for it.
Yeah. So Dave, I really appreciate you coming on this podcast day and especially for on a Sunday and had a blast to talk about, again, everything drums and rums. And I think, like I said, our first active full drummer and rummer, as I
duly
call
immersed.
You immersed, yes. So definitely. So one of the things is right. So it's already. I think it's already in the mail there. So right here.
Oh hell yeah!
Yeah, your shirt there, right? So that's shirt you'll be getting here.
Fuck yeah!
In the mail there, on the back there, where the back beats meets spirits, right?
Yeah, man.
Yes.
There you go.
So you.
Hey man, but you gotta remember, it's still okay to bob on 1 and 3. It's okay. It's fine.
So wait, are we clapping on 2 and 4 or 1 and 3?
You feel it however the fuck you want to feel it.
So when you get that shirt, sometime next week, you make sure Eric sees that you got the shirt before he did. So
right.
boom. Right. So no, I appreciate you coming on.
Anytime, man. It's been a blast.
Yeah, I know we would definitely be talking. Like I said, a whole lot longer. So hopefully
we'll close it down here in the next couple weeks. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, for sure. And I told Eric and said I would definitely want to come up. I want to come up and visit you guys there. I know you guys got a music thing. I know we didn't get a chance to really get a chance to talk about that. As much here in our this podcast episode, but definitely cool to see that the distillery does a lot of many things and events, music, and I saw the one they were like doing some sale like whatever, and then some type of gaming thing they did, and all sorts.
There's always something going on, and
cool.
It basically just boils down to who's paying attention to the calendar this month, and who has free reign or who does not. What's our expenditure budget? We're all over the place. Right. But definitely, Instill is all about hard work and family first, and we work as hard as we possibly can, every single one of us, to just make sure that our quality of product, whether it be what happens in house or what goes out into your house, is of the nature that is world-class, white-collar. We're all about it, but we're blue-collar people working our ass off.
Right.
And that's what it's all about, man.
Yeah. And that's
no bullshit.
And that's what I think is I love about the story is, it's the people that are behind the distillery, the families, the everyday American person that is doing it, right, and struggling through all the other things that we all do and so forth, and hopefully to help get the word out there about people's products, the brand and so forth. So so Dave, I'd like to thank you for coming on the podcast.
Thanks for having me, Paul.
Yeah,
really appreciate it.
No, like I said, I can't wait to actually come up there. Like I said, I'm trying to figure out how to do a road trip up. A little rum distillery road trip from here where I'm at all the way up to you guys in Tallahassee and Richardson, in all sorts of all points in between.
Tell you what, I'll get down there and then you and I will go do both of them together.
Oh, dude,
bottom to top.
Yeah, all right, there we go, man. Dave, we didn't even talk about there's something I have asked other drummers on the podcast where, like, hey, because here in Florida, as you may know, and there's a lot of soloists, guitarists, soloists, singer, soloists, right, playing many tiki bars. I'm like, why can't drummers do that? Like, if they have the right shtick or thing, right. Where you're singing
because a drummer would have to come up with a shtick.
It
would be great for us and we'd have a great time. But everyone else, unless it's a room full of drummers, will be like, God, what the fuck are they doing? We're on Tom Roll Central for the next 30 minutes. Really? Like, come on, man.
So I don't know. Look. We have here in Jupiter is the Square Grouper, and that's where Alan Jackson filmed his famous video for It's 5 O'Clock Somewhere, and that's where it's here in Jupiter. And then, as you meant, or as listed as we all float away, is a beachy kind of vibe, kind of very different style, and maybe that's something we can all talk about. It's like, if you guys want to make a trek down here and try
absolutely
crack.
Something else to plug real quick. My best friend's band, he and I grew up drumming together, did numerous tours together. As you're listening to As We All Float and doing the thing, also check out Slumber Wave. They just released their first music video. Fucking fantastic. Fantastic post rock from Wilmington, North Carolina. Again, this is my brother. His kids are around because I told him not to abort them. Like all sorts of weird fucking stories. But no, go check that shit out. Look at his stupid fucking mustache on this video. But no, absolute dope shit. Be looking forward to the As We All Float stuff coming here this summer too. We're really taking some active shit. It's gonna be dope. And yes, let's figure out Florida.
Yeah,
actively working on it.
No, for
actively
sure.
Working on it.
Yes,
we'll get some music and rum down there.
Oh yeah,
without question.
We'll do a big drum. What I don't.
Yeah, we're gonna do it
like a Allman Brothers band, right? 2 drummers and all that, right?
Fuck it, 3 drummers.
There you go.
3 drummers and someone on electric kit.
Oh yeah. So, all right. So, yeah. So, I'd like to thank Dave for the podcast. This episode will be available on all your favorite podcast locations on Tuesday, May 11th. Check out us over on Facebook, all upcoming shows, event. We have an upcoming live in person here on May 22nd for another upcoming show, our very first live event, podcast, etc. So make sure you check out our Drums and Rums podcast and give it a like, follow, and lots of other great episodes that are out there. Facebook, Instagram, blah, 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 all those places that, that we suck all of our time into and find out about us. Visit drumsandrums.com. And I want to make sure, I want to thank again everybody, especially Dave, for have a great day. I know you're at the distillery there. I
can't wait to leave.
Yeah, no, I definitely. Well, the funny, the irony is, I can't wait to come up there and see you guys. So
absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely, man. I'll hang out for somebody.
All right, I appreciate. I appreciate. So, all right, Dave, you have a great night. I'll catch you later, man.
Brother.
All right, thanks, man.